You are now listening to Cryptid Cocktail Party. Creatures, let's meet for a drink. It's a treat. Join us. Join us. Join us in the fight. Cryptid Cocktail Party. Cryptid Cocktail Party.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host Dave, joined as always by my wonderful co-host Sarge. How's it going, Sarge?
Woo! The fuck is up, everybody? It's raining in Massachusetts. It's not raining right now, but it's rained every weekend, and I'm getting real fucking tired of it.
Yeah, it's rained pretty much every weekend for the past 2 months. I don't think we've had one Saturday or Sunday where it hasn't at least rained at least once, which is very upsetting. Yeah. Not a fan of it.
Yeah, the New Englanders are getting mad. There's going to be a riot soon.
Whatever.
You're going to go after God specifically.
It's not like New England's like a real happy place anyways. We're always just so angry up there anyway.
It's true. That's true. It's hard to tell when we're angry because we're always angry.
True. It's like we're like the Hulk. That's our superpower. Yeah. Is that the secret is we're always mad.
Baseline is simmering rage.
Yeah, but we'll be super nice about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll just be mean to you while we're being nice. We'll do something nice for you while calling you a complete fucking moron.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure, I'll shovel you out, you fucking moron.
Yeah, it's pretty much that 365, 24/7. I don't know how many weeks there are in a year, but that many weeks as well. All right.
Well, I think you covered it with the 365.
Yeah, but I kind of did it in backwards order. I feel like it starts with 24/7, and then you do like
365.
Yeah. That's on me. All right, Sarge.
Yeah, that's okay. 52 weeks a year. We can just go that route.
Yeah. Sure. I don't know. Time is irrelevant. It's a flat circle. Doesn't mean anything.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, we invented it for fucking work purposes. It's not great.
Yeah, I was using a watch until Russ Cole joined the chat. Now I just don't believe in time at all.
I don't know who that is. So
he's the guy from True Detective who kept saying time is a flat circle.
Oh,
it's all right.
Okay, Sarge, I got an episode for us today. Whether it's good or not, I don't fucking know. But it's fun. It's a fun episode. Maybe.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready to take on anything. I'm taking on all comers. Yeah. Somebody get a mop.
Jesus Christ. All right. Today, Sarge, we're going to be heading across the pond to one of London's most prestigious neighborhoods, Mayfair, a place known for its polished Georgian townhouses, manicured gardens, and an air of refined exclusivity.
That's the only time the word refined has been paired with the word Georgia.
It's Georgian, not. I don't think it's Georgia as in.
No, I know. Talking about King George. I get it.
And nestled among those townhouses is 50 Berkeley Square, an unassuming building for where it is, but behind its polished doors and fancy facade lurks something older than time itself. A nameless horror that has driven men insane and left bodies twisted in terror. Is it a ghost? Is it a cryptid? Or is it something beyond human comprehension? Something that shreds minds and warps reality? Who knows? But maybe we can figure it out. So today, we are going to be diving headfirst into the legend of the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. Are you familiar with this at all?
No, because it doesn't have a name. So,
okay.
At first, I thought you were talking about Monopoly.
No, we're not talking about Monopoly. That's what none of this has.
Nothing sends a man into the descent of madness like a long, drawn-out game of Monopoly.
I feel like I don't know about that. It definitely tears families apart. That's for sure.
It does. I haven't spoken to my brother in 3 years.
But for real though, you're not familiar with the nameless thing of Berkeley Square?
No, not at all. I'm actually very excited.
Okay. Well, before we dive into the Lovecraftian horrors to come, let's talk a little bit about like the history of the house and the area that it's located in, for no other reason than just to kind of like give a little context and also to pad the runtime of this episode, because without it, it'd be like 5 minutes long. So 50 Berkeley Square was built sometime around 1730, right in the middle of Mayfair, which, like I said, was one of the richest neighborhoods in London. It was very exclusive, wildly expensive, and if you didn't have an ungodly amount of generational wealth, well, sucks to suck. Just enjoy pooping in your river, you fucking peasants.
Goddamn fucking heathens.
Now, the house itself is a classic Georgian townhouse, which at the time, very swanky. Nowadays, I don't really know. I mean, I technically live in one, and I'm broke as fuck, so different time, I guess. Back then, very posh. Now, you know, I found human shit on the trail by my house, so it's different times.
Look, I couldn't find a public restroom. Does a bear shit in the woods? No, but Saj does.
God damn it. All right. So its first occupants were largely members of the aristocracy and the upper middle class, pretty much just a revolving door of high status figures who could, you know, afford it. The house was originally built as part of the urban expansion of London in the 18th century, when the city was rapidly growing and wealthy people were ditching their countryside manors for a more convenient life near the palace and parliament. Probably just trying to work on, you know, they wanted a shorter commute, I guess, to fucking ruin the world.
Yeah.
But by the late 1700s, the house's reputation started to sour. There were whispers around town about strange noises and unexplainable phenomena coming from within its walls. And over time, the once prestigious address slowly became a place people avoided and talked about in hushed tones.
This can all be attributed to flatulence. This is what happens when you boil cabbage all the time.
Again, this is the more famous, rich part of London. I don't think they're just eating boiled cabbages.
Fine, they were boiling organic cabbage bought at Whole Foods.
Okay.
Weird British food, fucking beans for breakfast. What the hell's wrong with you people?
Whoa, slow your roll, dude. English breakfast is fucking amazing, all right? Beans, blood sausage, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it is popular around here too. And honestly, anything can be a breakfast food if you eat it early enough.
That's
Which
true.
is why I always start my day with a pickle.
I mean, there are times where I have eaten pizza rolls for breakfast. Now, was I hungover and or still drunk? Probably, but was it? Because really, you're just...
It still slaps.
Yeah, breakfast,
It doesn't matter whether you're drunk or not.
I'm just breaking my fast. That's technically what it is. But anyways, so...
Exactly. And if you wake up late enough, lunch can be breakfast.
True. Breakfast can also be dinner. Breakfast or dinner.
Oh,
Okay.
what a time to be alive.
But the most famous and talked about room of Berkeley Square was the attic. Now, both tenants and servants in the home reported chilling experiences on the upper floors, but especially in the attic. Stories began circulating about a presence on the upper floors of the home so malevolent it twisted minds and literally broke bodies. But despite some sort of eldritch horror squatting in the attic, the house's status as a luxury residence continued into the 19th century, but its growing reputation made it sort of like an urban legend even among London's elite. And it's this dichotomy, like the elegant and proper facade of Berkeley Square and the horror so unimaginable that they drive you mad, that lurk inside of it, that set the stage for the stories that I'm about to tell you. So are you ready to dive into the legends that inside Berkeley Square? You look excited.
Fuck yes, I am. You know what I'm going to love the most? I want to see what they blame this on, because they can't blame it on Native Americans.
True.
We sent one Native American over there, Pocahontas, and she died like almost immediately.
Yeah, well, you know. All right. So
It's a horrible climate in that place, and the food is just garbage.
we went over the food's fine. All right. Most of it's beige, yes, like a 90s computer, but I'm sure it's fine. I haven't been, so I have no idea.
But like beige, like a 90s computer that sat in the sun for a while, so it's also kind of brownish almost.
Yeah, like a good oatmeal, which I assume is what they eat for almost every meal.
It's porridge. It's called porridge over there.
So before we begin, you and everyone listening should know that most, if not all, of these stories are pretty much unconfirmed. So whether they are real encounters, exaggerated stories, or just outright fiction, I don't know. The sources for this were scant, to say the least. But what I do know is that these incidents and stories are what pretty much form the backbone for the house's reputation. So the first widely circulated tale of death inside 50 Berkeley Square happened in 1840 when a young man only known by his last name, which was Warboys. Awesome. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but
How is that a last name?
I don't know. I don't think that's how it's pronounced. But it's spelt Warboys, and I love it.
I mean, I can't think of another way to pronounce that.
It's spelled just how it sounds.
Warbois?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways.
I mean, there's no, Warboys is fine.
So anyways, a man known by his last name Warboy spent the night alone in the attic, either as a guest or a tenant. It's unclear, but really it doesn't matter because by morning he was dead. So his body was found twisted and contorted. His eyes are wide open and his mouth was frozen mid-scream. A pistol was found near the body with a spent round, suggesting he had fired at something, but no evidence of an intruder was ever found. A few decades later, in 1871, Lord George Lyttelton, a well-known British politician, decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to prove that this place is not haunted and you lot are a bunch of pussies. So he arranged to spend the night in the attic, and to prove he wasn't scared of no ghost, he was armed with only a candle and a double-barreled shotgun. So, no.
When you say armed with only a candle and then a double-barreled shotgun, maybe the candle is not necessarily what he was armed with.
Both.
Unless he was fighting scarecrows.
Or just like the dark.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
His pitched battle with the darkness.
No. According to Lord George Lyttelton, sometime after midnight, he heard something moving that was described as a slow, wet, dragging sound. Then a dark shape emerged from the corner of the room. He fired both barrels into that motherfucker and then just immediately dipped out. The next morning, he claimed to have found shotgun pellets embedded in the wall, but no blood, no body, and no explanation for what the fuck happened. Now, whether Lyttelton was full of shit or... God damn it. Now, whether Lyttelton was full of shit or he actually encountered something in the house, who knows? But due to his status and reputation, combined with this story, it lent the house and the happenings inside sort of like an air of legitimacy because he was so well known. You know what I mean?
Now, did he live? Did he survive?
Yeah, he survives.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that would make sense because we know what it sounded like. So he fired into the darkness at a wet, like kind of squishy sound.
Well, he said he saw like an amorphous
like a
shape
form
come out of it was dark.
Okay.
He couldn't see it, but he fucking two barrels right to that guy's chest or thing's chest.
Got it.
Entity's chest. No. Another tragedy that occurred around this time involves a young maid who had the unfortunate opportunity to be employed by whoever was living at 50 Berkeley Square at the time. Now, according to legend, she was told to sleep in the attic. Some say it was a cruel prank. Others say it was some form of punishment. More than likely, it was just shit luck on her part.
Yeah. Or they were like, my tea is cold, to the attic.
It could be a punishment or just like that's the only place they had for her. Either way, it sucks. Now, that night, the entire house heard this blood-curdling scream coming from the attic. When the servants rushed to the room, they found her curled in a corner, eyes wide and unblinking, shaking violently and repeating the same line over and over again. Don't let it touch me. Don't let it touch me.
Also the name of my sex tape, weirdly enough.
You are the worst. God damn it. No.
It's not my fault. I'm very pale. It scares people.
Now, reportedly, she never recovered. She was admitted into an asylum where she eventually died. She eventually died not long after. Whatever she saw in the attic was so profoundly terrifying that it literally drove her into a state of irreversible madness. Then, Finally, the last story I got for you is what is considered the most famous and for sure the most violent story associated with 50 Berkeley Square. And in my opinion, it's the best one. So in 1887, two sailors in their early 20s, Edward Blunden and Robert Martin of the HMS Penelope, were on shore leave.
This has got to be good.
It's
sailors are just going to fuck shit up.
all right. So in 1887, like I said, the two sailors in their early 20s, Edward Blunden and Robert Martin of the HMS Penelope, were on shore leave and were looking for a place to crash in Mayfair. They were low on cash and more than likely hammered off their ass. They were either dared to or decided on their own to spend the night at 50 Berkeley Square. Now, by this point, the house is pretty infamous. Like, everyone kind of knew about it and well known for its reputation for being just an absolute nightmare of a home. So, like I said, whether it was a drunk wager or just an act of bravado by two drunken sailors, the two men broke into the house and made their way up to the attic, which by this point had just straight up been sealed off, which, I mean, great call. I like that they decided that
makes sense.
Yeah. Now, when they finally got in, the room was bare, cold, and thick with the smell of mold, mildew, and dust. One of the men lit a candle while the other decided to try and make some type of makeshift bed from some items that were left behind from previous tenants, which, not gonna lie, so far, this is pretty romantic. This is pretty hot.
It is. It's definitely a meet cute.
Now, what stood out the most to them was just how quiet the attic was. It was one of those, like, it's too quiet kind of deals that always happens to someone, like, just before some absolutely horrific shit goes down. But they tried to play it off, cracking jokes, shooting the shit, playful wrestling, whatever sailors do when on leave together in a haunted attic. I don't know.
Little Dutch rudder action.
But not long after midnight, something changed. The temperature of the room dropped sharply. The candle began to flicker even though there was no draft. Then a sound. It wasn't footsteps. It sounded more like something dragging itself across like the wooden floors. It was something wet, it was irregular, and it was alien. Now, Martin claimed that Blunden grabbed a length of pipe and got in between the noise and his friend, or possible lover, shouting at whatever it was to stay back. Well, it didn't work, obviously. That's when this thing attacked. Now, Martin described that what he saw attack, he only could describe it in fractured statements before he inevitably lost his mind, which we'll get to in a second. He described it as being a shapeless, amorphous thing, no visible face, and covered in some sort of slime. It had tentacles or limbs, or both, that didn't move right. It didn't walk, it crawled, or it slid, or unfolded itself from the corner of the room like it had been inside the walls all the time. Again, he's losing his mind while he's trying to.
He's also extremely drunk, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we'll just wait. So anyways, this thing lunged and Blunden swung at it with his metal pipe and landed a direct blow, but it barely registered as an attack. In its defense, it wrapped Blunden up in one of its many appendages, lifted him off the ground, and slammed him all around the room. I assume it was kind of like what the Hulk did to Loki in the Avengers. You know what I'm talking about? It's just
that cartoon handshake where you shake the guy's hand so much you're slamming him into the ceiling and then into the floor.
But now so he was slamming around the room before the thing decided he was bored and fucking just chucked him across the room straight through a window. Now, let's flip this. Okay. So at the same time, Martin is watching his friend get tossed around like a chew toy in the attic. Witnesses on the street and neighbors reported hearing shouting, violent and repetitive slamming on the walls, the sound of glass breaking, and then a single long inhuman shriek.
I mean, those could have just been sex noises, though.
Now, when they went to go investigate just what the hell was going on, they discovered Blunden's body impaled on the spiked iron fence that ringed the property.
Ooh,
Reports say his body was just torn the fuck up, but not just from the fall, but from something prior. He was covered in bruises. He had a shattered arm that didn't quite match the fall, and his face was frozen in what could only be described as an expression of unspeakable fear. Now, inside the house, they found Martin just barely clinging to his sanity. He was tucked away, huddled in the attic's far corner. His eyes were wide and unblinking, and his pupils were completely blown out, unreacting to the light. They said he was, quote unquote, barely human in appearance. He was pale, trembling uncontrollably. He had both pissed and shit himself, and his mouth seemed as though it was stuck mid-scream, but nothing was coming out besides rasping breaths that people have said sounded more like hyperventilation mixed with wet sobs.
I can only imagine like the problems, like the mess that he must feel like inside, you know?
Oh yeah.
The internal conflict. I mean, his buddy was just looking out for him, kind of a you scratch my back, I'll finish on yours situation. And then he gets thrown out a window and stuck on a wrought iron fence. Like, how terrible.
I hate you, Sarge. So much. And the fact that we have lag and I can't discipline you in real time really bums me out. No, for hours after he was, I guess, rescued from the house, he was incapable of speech. When he did finally begin to mumble, it was just in broken fragments. Now, some of the greatest hits included, "It came out of the walls," "Too many arms," or "None, I couldn't count," "Eyes on the floor," "It touched me, it knew my name," and this is probably the worst one, "The dark is alive, don't let it know you're watching." Not great.
Damn. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
That's a scary one.
It's not good.
Don't let it know you're watching. Fuck. That's so scary.
It's not good. None of this is good. And you're over here making cum jokes. God damn.
Well, I mean, "Too many arms" did almost send me down a rabbit hole, but I held it together because I don't think our audience is ready for a bukkake joke just yet.
So he also reportedly tried to claw his own eyes out at least once while being restrained. And on the carriage ride,
a lot of women do that after sex with me.
You're a married man. All right. Fucking chill. You proud of yourself? This is what you want? This is what you want? This is what you want for our audience, Sarge? All right, huh? You're having a grand old time.
I'm sorry. I'm a little punchy today. The rain is doing it to me.
This man lost his mind watching his lover get thrown out a window and impaled on a fence, and you're over here making cum jokes? I quit. I'm storming off.
Oh, God.
All right.
Okay.
You good? Settled?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said, he also reportedly tried to claw his eyes out at least once while being restrained, and on the carriage ride to the local infirmary, he refused to sit near any windows or dark corners, which I assume would make travel very difficult. I can't imagine carriages back then were very well lit, so you either had to do one or the other. I don't think you could sit by a window and or it. He's a very confusing man. Now,
avoid a dark corner. Yeah, how does that work? Just curled up on the floor holding a candle?
Something. No, once there, one nurse said he would scream every time someone would enter the room if he hadn't actually seen them approach, as if he was expecting to see something else when they finally popped in. Now, within 48 hours, he was committed to a psychiatric ward, but his condition never improved. Now, like I said, official records are missing or incomplete, but one orderly is said to have noted that Martin died years later, still afraid of shadows and having never spoken again in full sentences. Some versions say he actually had to be kept in a padded room that had to remain lit 24 hours a day. Other stories like to claim that he would draw shapes on the walls in his own shit. just
God damn it.
Just the same image over and over. Twisting concentric spirals and blobs with curling tentacles. Now, I'm not saying all the details are true, but the essential detail remains the same, and that is Robert Martin never recovered, and whatever he saw in that room, it didn't just break his mind, it completely swallowed it whole. So there you are. Those are the stories of 50 Berkeley Square. They're not great. How you feeling so far?
Imagine being so scared that you draw shit monsters on the wall. That's horrifying. Like, it broke his brain so bad that he had to draw it in poop.
It might have been also just the only thing he had as far as quote unquote art supplies go.
Yeah, they're probably not giving him too many. Yeah, they're probably not giving him too many pens and pencils. He's not getting like a 3B out of that one.
I feel like they're not just willy nilly giving him like, oh yeah, here's a sharp object to.
Here's some charcoal and oil pastels.
Honestly, I feel like that's safer. I feel like oil pastels would have been the way to go. All right, sorry. Do you want to talk some theories as to what this thing could be?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So let's talk theories, because for a thing with no name, people have sure as hell tried to slap a lot of explanations on it. All right. So some folks say it's a ghost, classic haunted house deal. Maybe the spirit of a young woman who died tragically in the attic. Maybe something older, meaner, something demonic. It doesn't behave like your average Victorian lady in white type ghost thing. It's super violent.
Yeah.
It's physical, and it definitely has a body count
Little rough.
for sure. Others think it's not a ghost at all, but just a straight up creature, like a legit biological thing. Reports, like I said, described it as oozing, amorphous, sometimes tentacled, which has led to this idea that the attic was home to a giant squid.
A giant squid, completely forgetting that they don't breathe air.
Yeah, just a straight up cephalopod, like in the attic.
Just crawling out of its aquarium.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then attacking and then crawling back in there.
Yeah, I don't know how it's supposed to have gotten there or what it was eating besides an occasional sailor or two, but I don't know. People bring it up more than you would think.
You would think the sailors would have recognized that it was a squid.
Maybe in the dark it's weird. I don't know. I feel like on land you might not fucking know.
Yeah, and they might have been busy doing other stuff.
Jeez, so there's also
I didn't look.
I know I put the idea in your head and now it's just there.
I was being gentle.
It's pride, Sarge. All right, we can't keep making gay jokes.
It's not a joke. There's nothing wrong with being gay.
Jesus. Don't turn this on me like I'm the asshole. All right. God damn it.
There is nothing wrong with the love of two sailors just enjoying their evening.
Happy Pride, everyone. But anyway, so there's also the idea.
And it was interrupted by a perverse octopus.
Anyways, there's also the idea that it was some kind of escaped experiment. Victorian London had its fair share of bad scientists. Maybe someone whipped something up unnatural and locked it upstairs when it got out of hand.
Yeah, that Dr. Jekyll guy was a real fucking weirdo.
Yeah. On the more psychological side of things, you got theories pretty much just like mass hysteria, fear feeding fear. Like one person panics, another dies under mysterious circumstances, and then suddenly anyone who walks into that place is just expecting to see something that breaks their mind. And
that makes sense too, though, because like you've heard the stories of like when people hear about a place being haunted, they go in with the expectation. Yeah. And so any kind of weird little noise or whatever is amplified, and then they freak the fuck out.
Yeah,
that could be it.
Then it's just a ghost. It's obviously that's what it is.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like you're also so for the sailors. I did have a question about the sailors for real. They go up the stairs. They find a room blocked off.
Yeah,
they've got a whole ass fucking house, but their thought is, no. I want to sleep in the room that's completely boarded up.
Well, like I said, it was either a dare or like the house already had a reputation, so they knew what was going on.
Right.
So they were probably like, if we're gonna sleep here, we have to sleep in the attic. Again, it was either a dare or they were just wanted to prove how brave they were. It wasn't like they didn't wander into a haunted house and go, "Why is this blocked off? Oh, we got to figure it out." They didn't Scooby Doo it. They knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, it feels like a really weird choice. If someone was like, "Hey, this house has broken a bunch of people's brains that are in an insane asylum down the street, and there's bullet holes everywhere," I'm gonna sleep adjacent to the horror room.
To be fair, most of them died.
That's true.
Yeah, and these all happened like pretty far apart, I guess, in like time wise. Like it wasn't like a bunch of deaths in the span of a year. It was like every couple decades.
Well, yeah, because no one else was dumb enough to sleep in the fucking shotgun attic.
That's fair. He didn't die though. Maybe the shotgun is the key. Maybe we're going this all wrong. You know, maybe this is an Ash
That's it. You need
Evil
the shotgun.
Dead scenario. Yeah, exactly. Now the other angle is that maybe there was like the quote unquote gas leak angle. Like Victorian homes were full of carbon monoxide and other toxins. Hallucinations, paranoia, sudden death, all those things can be kind of.
I mean, yeah, the fucking wallpaper had arsenic in it.
Yeah, it was not great. And then there's always the possibility that the whole thing was bullshit. You know what I mean? Like maybe Lord Littleton, he heard about the ghost stories and then he himself went in there, exaggerated the whole thing, and over the years it turns into a full blown like urban legend. Or maybe it's just a real mind bend. It was something else, like something that didn't belong here. Like it wasn't a ghost or a beast, something that like very Lovecraftian. Like, you know what I mean? Like very eldritch.
Like an interdimensional creature that someone called up from the ocean.
But yeah, it's just something came through. Yeah. I don't know. It's all bad. None of it's great, but there you have it, Sarge. That's all I got.
I think the thing that really sells this story though, is that it's like it ends in Victorian England. You know, what did you say? 1880 or 1890, something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it ends at like a really dark time in English history. I mean, you've got Jack the Ripper not too far off. There's a lot of room for creepy, fucking scary shit. Charles Dickens didn't help.
No, definitely not. But there you have it, Sarge. That is the story. That is the story of the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. How you feeling? What do you think?
I love it, and I want it to be so true. Is the house still there? I have to imagine they probably torn it down at this point.
I left this out. It's still there. The bottom floor is now a bookstore, and they do not allow anyone upstairs.
So we need to break in.
Paranormal teams have tried to get in there and investigate forever. I don't think many, if any, have, as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah, it still stands. It's now just a bookstore. It's like...
Sounds like we just need to bide our time. I mean, bookstores can't be doing that well. Sure, we'll get to a point where they have a price and we could be like, yo.
That's true.
Let me take my shotgun and this candle up into your attic. This is a pleasant surprise. I really like this story actually a lot. I want to look more into it and find out more stuff. I want to go to this fucking bookstore for sure.
Yeah, it's information's all over the place. The stories are different depending on who's telling them. It's very one of those type deals. I just kind of picked and choose my favorite ones. I guess.
I mean, that's all you can really do with any paranormal story is like hunt and peck and like I just want to know why it's like that. That's what I need. I need to know, like, there's no fucking haunting backstory that I need.
Yeah, there's no reason why it's, because it was, I don't know. There's no, I'm sure there's a dark past that I didn't look into. Maybe like a bunch of people died in the building or something like that, but it wasn't built long before it started getting fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't there long enough, I feel like, to have a bunch of tragedies. So I don't know. It's weird. All right, Sarge. You got anything you want to plug before we sign off?
Yeah, drink Narragansett beer, you sons of bitches. I just had Narragansett Dell's iced tea. Really good stuff.
Hey, I'm drinking the tea right now too.
But not like too much. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh,
little bit of carbonation, not too much. And it just, in the lemonade, Dell's lemonade, so good.
It is.
It's like an Arnold Palmer, but they won't let you into a country club if you're carrying it.
They might.
Yeah, but it's probably a country club in like Quincy, Massachusetts. You know what I mean? But no, drink it. Narragansett Dell's iced tea.
It's a really good summer drink. I'm drinking it while it's raining. So, I mean, I'm bringing the summer vibes into the studio by myself. It's fine.
You kind of need to. That's what I'm doing too.
All right. And if you drink Narragansett, whichever one you want. You don't have to drink the fucking tea just because Sarge told you to. You can drink whatever you want. Just drink it.
The shandy's good.
Yeah. If you want to follow us,
or a fresh catch is good too. IPA. All right. I'm sorry. You got me thinking about beer. Now I'm just fucking. You didn't even do it. I did it to myself.
You did.
Yeah.
So if you
Name of
want
my sex tape. Yes.
I'm editing all this out. All right. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can do that at Cryptid Cocktail. Follow us on TikTok, Cryptid Cocktail Party. And just a reminder that this Thursday, when this episode, the week that this episode comes out, we're going to be on Scared All the Time. We did an episode with them about shark attacks. It was a lot of fun.
They unlocked my nerd obsession.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. I think that's all I got to plug. I don't really know. If you want to follow Sarge on all his socials, you can find the links in our Instagram. And with that out of the way, Sarge, you want to say goodbye and I love you to the audience?
Goodbye. And if you are two sailors just trying to find a place to love each other, don't go to England. I love you.
Cryptid Cocktail Party. Cryptid Cocktail